I wanted to ask if you could provide the committee with a list of the companies who ultimately end up with all the tax credits that we offer as a state. I'm looking for the end user. If you could provide that to the chairman.
Absolutely, yes. Are you looking at just the job creation tax credits or all the tax credit programs?
All the tax credit programs. I know it's quite a list, but.
Okay, no, that's fine.
Next, I want to talk about the PA Venture Capital Investment Program. Is that program currently closed to new application and is all the money is completely out?
Yeah, that money is currently closed right now.
Okay, are there any plans to reopen that?
Not at this time.
Okay.
No.
The next fund I want to talk about is my personal favorite fund. I know I've had many conversations with DCED about this fund. It's the Infrastructure Facilities and Improvement Grants Program. Last year, I believe it was funded at $16 million with some help from staff here. I think we had found about $12 million in commitments. I don't know what the other $4 million was for. Did any of that money lapse, or is it still in the program?
The money's still in the program. It's an absolutely great program that we utilize through the Commonwealth Financing, or I'm sorry, not through the Commonwealth Financing Authority, but through our business financing division. And the money that you're probably talking about is money that's been dedicated over the course of a few years, because as you remember, that money is based upon companies borrowing money to do major infrastructure projects, hotels, convention centers, and things like that. And then there's a 10-year payoff period.
Right, and it's typically about $500,000 for 10 years.
So some of that money allows us to do additional projects. So we're doing additional projects through the infrastructure facilities.
So you've reopened the program?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So was it ever closed for a period of time?
I don't know that it was closed. I mean, we're always monitoring it. So there were times back then, if you remember, Representative, I think it was funded at maybe $20 or $21 million a few years ago. Our concern was we would have to completely shut it down. And the last thing we want to do is we don't want to be in a position where we're just paying for our obligations right now, and then the program goes away, because it's done some really good things in places around the state.
Well, that's why I asked, because my confusion was whether or not it was closed and why we were still throwing extra money at this line item, where I think $20 million a few years ago you had mentioned, and then we find $12 million in commitments. It just looks weird, and where'd the other $4 million go? And then I think this year the request is for $16 million.
Right.
So are you currently taking applications for this, or you're trying to?
We'll do that. We'll take a look at any opportunities that we can through that particular program.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So, and the parameters will stay the same. It'll still be a 10-year program.
It'll still be a 10-year program, but again, we have to monitor it constantly based upon the commitments that we've already made to make sure that we have enough funding under that.
Okay.
Again, it's another program that we'd love to ask for a lot more money. But we're trying to be responsible and understand what you're going through as you're going through the budgeting process.
Okay. Next, I want to talk about. Well, I guess a few other members have touched upon it, about how you market Pennsylvania to businesses, not only in the United States but outside of the United States as well. I've looked through the book that you had provided. You have different events, industry events, and trade shows you go to. It looks like there was a Global Plastic Summit in Chicago last fall. You set representation to. I was just wondering if there was any direct results, any return on that.
Absolutely.
At this point?
I think one of the things that we're doing, and it came out of a study and an implementation strategy that was done a few years ago through working with Team Pennsylvania Foundation. It was done by IHS Markit, and it was really, what are the effects of the ethane cracker plant being developed in Beaver County, and then what can we do as a state to build upon that? What are some downstream opportunities that we've had? And it has been incredible to go to some of these trade shows to talk about that, and to talk about the fact that this industry gives us the ability to maybe develop up to 4 more ethane crackers, not just in Pennsylvania, but Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and Ohio. But we have this prolific resource that we can utilize for that.
So you are marketing the energy part of our state.
Companies are paying attention to that now.
Right, because I see you have the World Petrochemical Conference in San Antonio, the Bayer International Convention in Philadelphia, another global plastic.
Yes.
All of these facilities would all make perfect sense with a cracker plant going up.
Absolutely.
And love to have 4 more of the petrochemical plants in Pennsylvania. That was the point that I wanted to make, is we have this facility. What are we doing downstream?
You're absolutely right, and that's what we wanted. We wanted to know what we can do And so what came out of that study is to develop sites, to prepare sites for development through our Business in Our Sites program and other particular programs, and also market Pennsylvania, and look at particular opportunities within Pennsylvania in specific areas that companies will want to locate. So we're talking to companies right now when we go to these areas. I go to these conferences from time to time, and we make the pitch that why they should be doing business in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is in the middle. We have the feedstock, and we're closer to the end users than anybody in the country.
Well, as you know, we've got a ton of places in Allegheny County, but thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thanks.